Hi everyone, welcome back to the Cypress series. In the previous video, we saw the automation framework architecture. So I created this mind map where I've added few components. So you can see all the components, and these components I'll be covering as part of the series. The first component is GitHub. So from today onwards, I'm going to start with the coding part. First, we will see how the GitHub repository can be created. So the prerequisite is you need to create an account on GitHub. It's free of cost. With the minimal details, you can create an account, and then we will create a GitHub repository. So why we are doing this? For example, you're working in a team where you have multiple team members working with you. So in order to work in a collaborative way, if you want to exchange the data with each other, or if you want to see who added the last method or when it was added, you need to think about a distributed version control platform. And that is where GitHub is used, because this is one of the most used and one of the most famous platform. That's why we are going with GitHub. So let's see how we can create a repository. I have a profile already on GitHub. So what you have to do after creating a profile, go to the repository section, and on the repository page, you can see a new button on the right side, this new blue color button. Just click on this button, and then you can see over here a new page. Now over here, you have to pass the repository name. Just pass a meaningful name over here. So I'm passing Cypress End2End. And then we have the description. This is again optional. If you want to add, you can add some description. I'll pass it like this, just automation, or you can keep it empty also. Then comes our visibility part. So by default, it is public. But if you're working in an organization, it's better to keep it private because of the security reasons, right? Then we have README file. So again, this is an optional thing, but it is good to have. You can add all the description about your project, like what is the tech stack which is used or how to run the files. You can add all the description over here in the README file. For now, I'm just keeping it optional. I'm not adding anything over here. So then these are the basic details which you have to pass, and then click on the create button. So once you create this repository, you will see a link got generated over here. So you see, this is the link, HTTPS link, which got generated. This is one of the way to create a repository. You can also create it using this. You can see the command over here. Fine. So our next step is we want to clone this on our local machine. So when you want to work on the local machine, because this is again a remote server, your repo is created on a remote server. But if you want to you want to create a local copy of this, you need to clone this repo. So what we will do, let's copy the URL. Just copy the URL from here, go to a terminal or command prompt, and go to that destination where you want to copy this. So for example, I want to go to my desktop. I'm going to desktop, and on the desktop I want to clone this folder. So for cloning, we need to add this command git clone and URL. So this is the URL which I copied. You can see over here, this is the same URL. Just pass this command and click enter. So your project would be created. Empty repo would be cloned on your local machine. Fine. Again, this is an empty repo. We haven't added anything. That's why you can see over here, it's giving a warning also. It is an empty repository. Fine. Next thing is we need an ID where we can write the code. So for the framework part, I'm using Visual Studio Code, but you can use any ID, any editor of your choice, right? So let's open the VS Code and then open this repository. So this is my VS Code, and this is an empty folder as of now. So over here, we will open the folder which we just created. So we created this on our desktop. So I will just go to desktop, and over here you can see we have the Cypress End2End. So I'm selecting Cypress End2End. Now we can see this is an empty folder because this is what we cloned from GitHub, right? Now let's go to terminal and let's start with the installation part of Cypress. So we are using Node for the installation. So you need to make sure you need to have Node installed on your system. If you do not have, you can download it from the official website. And if you want to follow step by step the installation part, I have created a dedicated video on the Cypress installation. You can watch that also. For this series, I'll be quickly installing Cypress. So first thing is we need to have package.json. So for that, we need a command which is npm init. So I'll use npm init. So with npm init, you need to pass the basic details. It will ask you the package name. You can see over here all the details. It will ask you package name and version, description, project name. All this information you have to pass. So I'm keeping it as it is. Just click enter, and by default it will be added. Okay. So once you pass all this, it will take the GitHub repository also, whatever, because we are cloning the project. That's why you can see over here. So once you click on yes, you can see the package.json got created over here, and all the values which were added as part of your description is added. You can see the description, you can see the name. So all the details are added over here. Fine. So the next step is, now we have our package.json. Next thing is to install Cypress. So you can copy the command from the official website. The command is npm install Cypress --save -dev. So this is the command for installing Cypress. So just click enter. In your terminal, pass this command and click enter. So after this, our Cypress will be installed. So once Cypress is installed, you can see node modules got added over here. We can see different packages inside the node modules. And next thing is, what we want to do, we have to do npx Cypress open. So in order to set the configuration and check if Cypress is installed, what we will do, we will go to the terminal, enter the command npx Cypress open. And now we can see our Cypress test runner is opened. And from here, select end-to-end, select the configuration file, just click on continue and click the browser. So I'm selecting Chrome browser. And now you will see a test runner screen getting opened. So you can see some example specs. So click on some example specs and just click on OK. So by default, Cypress gives you this 2 packages and have provided some sample test cases for the reference. So these are the sample test cases. So now our Cypress configuration, Cypress installation is done. I will go back to the VS Code. So, and you can see on the left side. So on the left side, we can see the Cypress got installed, and by default, our folders like end-to-end, fixtures, support, and cypress.config file, it got installed, right? So these are the things which comes by Cypress installation. We can see some packages also, and inside this, there are some test files which Cypress provides you by default. Just for the reference, if you want to refer, you can refer to these files. Okay, so our Cypress installation is done. Now our Git cloning repository, these steps are done. The next thing is creating a page object model. So for the page object model, what we will do, we will automate one scenario, which is a registration flow. We'll automate the registration flow. So earlier, what we used to do, we created one it test case, it block, and inside that we used to pass all the locators, all the actions, everything in the same class, in the same test case. But with the new approach, we are going to change the approach over here. In the new approach, we will pass locator separately, we will pass our test data separately, and we will write test cases in a different file, right? So we have 3 different components. So I will just go to the mind map and will explain you once again. So this is my mind map. So what we will do, we will have our page classes. So pages, inside that, what we will do, we'll write our locators, and we will also write the actions over here in the pages. So we will write actions like click, type, all the actions over here. Fine. Then we will have our test file. In the test file, we will create an object of page class. So we will call the page class by creating an object. So object of page class. And then we will write the assertion in our test class only. So this is our assertion, right? So this is what we are going to see now. So let's go to the VS Code and start writing the code. So this is my VS Code. Now, first of all, let me delete this existing packages because we don't need it. Let me delete it. Next thing is inside Cypress, I will create a package. So I'll name it as pages. Okay. And inside end-to-end, I will create a package which I will name as test. So inside the test, we will write all our test cases in which we will write using Mocha, describe, and it block. And in the pages, we will create pages for that page where we can create the classes where we'll create classes where we will add locators and all the actions. So let's automate. Let's see. Let me show you. We will automate one e-commerce website registration flow. So we have been using the same website in our previous videos as well. I'll use the same one. So let's go to the website and see the registration form once more. So this is the page. So this is our URL. And over here, you can see this is a registration form. So we have various fields on the page. We have first name, last name, email, phone number, password. And we also have we have checkbox over here, and we have normal continue a click button, right? So this is the scenario which we are going to automate today. So first thing is we have to copy the URL. So when we automate this, first of all, we access the URL and then we enter the detail. So let's go to our VS Code and start writing our code. So this is my VS Code, and in the pages, first thing I will create a register page. So this is my register page.js. So the files are in JS because Cypress supports only JavaScript, right? That's why we are creating our code only in the JavaScript. Now I will create a class. So class, and I will name it as register page. Inside the class, the next thing is we want to store the locators. So for locators, what I will do, I will create an object. I'll name it as locator, web locators. And inside that, I will store the locators in the key value format. So you can pass any key. So what we will do, we have the name over here. So let's say I want to find the locator for first name. So I'll be using the same name so that it is easier for us to refer. So I will write over here first name. So first name, and the locator value we can add over here. Guys, you can pass any name over here. It is just for the reference because this is the locator for first name. That's why I'm using first name. So don't get confused. This is not fixed. You can pass any name of your choice, right? So let's find the locator for first name. So go to the website, to right click, just inspect the element, and let's find the locator. So we can see this is ID. I will copy ID and I'll go back over here. Guys, if you do not know how to find a locator, you can watch, I have created a video on the CSS locator. So I have shared multiple approaches, how you can create CSS from using different approaches. You can see that, right? Next thing is finding the last name. And what I will do, I'll quickly create the locator, find out locators for all these values, and then we'll see the next step, okay, in order to save time. So I've added locators over here in order to save time. So you can see all the fields and their respective locators, right? First name, last name, phone number, password, and checkbox and continue. So the next step, what we will do, we will write our methods. So the first method, what action we are performing. So our first action is we have to pass the first name. For this, enter first name. So this is my method, enter first name. And inside that, what I will do, so when we find a locator, when we have to access a locator in Cypress, so we use this command cy.get or cy.contains. So over here, we'll be using cy.get, and then we pass the locator inside that. So we have already written locators inside this. This is an object. In order to access this, we will use this keyword, this dot web locators dot the name. So our first value is first name. I want to find the first name, right? The next action is we want to pass some value. So for that, we will be using the type command. So dot type, and inside that we will pass the value, whatever value we want to pass. But as we are creating a framework, so we will not pass the data directly here. We will pass the data in our fixture file, and then that data we will pass to our test case, right? So over here, what I will do, I will just pass a reference. I will pass a parameter. So I can pass any name. So I will write as f name. So this is my first name, and the same parameter you can pass inside your method. Okay. So this is my first method. The next one is enter the last name. So what I will do, I can just create a new one. I'll just copy this one and I will change the name over here. So second one is enter last name, and the locator name also we have to change. So this is my last name. You can see we have created a last name value, and inside the parameter I will pass L name. So that is my last name. This is just a parameter which will be passing in our test file and fetching this value from the fixtures. We will see that later on. Okay. For now, just understand we are passing some value and this value will be passed in our test file. Okay. Next method is entering the email. So I'll quickly copy the same thing. So enter email. I will write over here, enter. I will write over here, enter email. So this is my email part. And this is again the locator value. Inside we have to pass the locator value. So web locator, the value is email. And then the type command, inside the type command, because we have to pass the data again, I'll pass email. So this email I'll be passing inside my test class. Fine. Next one is we have to pass telephone. Next one is we have to pass telephone. Then we have password. So I'll quickly copy and create methods for you. So this is my enter telephone, and web locator is again different locator, and I will pass over here phone number, and this parameter I will pass over here as well, right, in my method. Next one is after the phone number we have passwords. So on the page we have two fields for the password. One is password and one is confirm password. So I will just club it. Why I'm clubbing it? Because in both the fields the value would be same. We can pass same data. So that's why I'm going to club this. So this is password, and I will pass over here. Let's say I want to pass the reference name as password only. So this is my parameter, and I'll pass the inside the method name. And we have to find two locators, right? There are two locators, different locators for password and confirm password, but the value would be same. So I'll just copy this step, and we'll just change the locator over here. So the locator name is password confirm. I'll just copy here, and this is my password confirm. Next step is after password confirm we have checkbox over here, which is privacy policy checkbox. So I will say select checkbox, and we don't have to pass any parameter because this is not type command. We are not entering anything. We are just selecting the checkbox. So what I will do, first of all, let me change the locator. So the locator name over here is policy checkbox. So we'll pass the locator. After passing the locator name, I will pass the command which is dot check. So dot check is used here. We will check, select the checkbox. Last is click on the continue. So last function is click on continue, and inside that also this is a click action again. So you see this is a click action. We are not going to pass any parameter in this case, in this method. So I will directly use cy.get this dot web locators and then continue. Okay, and after that I will use dot click because we are performing click action. So this is how I created my page class. In page class, I'll explain you once again. We created a class and then we created object inside it. Inside the object, I have passed my locators in this key value pair. Then I created different methods, and in the methods I'm passing the locator name. So this is my locator name. This is my locator name, and then for the type command, I'm just passing a parameter. So these parameter will be passing in our test class. So this is our page class, right? Next thing is, so this is the actions which we perform. We have one more thing. We have to open the URL also. So I created for that. So open URL. Inside open URL, so in order to access the URL, we use cy.visit. So cy.visit, and inside that we pass the URL. Okay, but as we are trying to optimize as much as we can do, so in Cypress what we can do, we can pass the URL, so the values like this, from the configuration file. So we'll go to our configuration file, which is cypress.config.js, and inside that what I will do, I create environment, and inside the environment object, so what we will do, we'll create a key. So the key name is URL, and then I will pass the value of the key. So what is the value? This is the value of URL. So I'm passing the URL inside my environment, so this is a global configuration which we are doing. We are creating an environment object in cypress.config.js where we are storing our URL, and this URL we will use in the page class. So in cy.visit, what I will do, I will write cypress.environment. So that means it will be taking from the object environment object, and inside that I need to pass the key. So our key name is URL. This is how we pass the environment variable over here, right? So we have passed, and it will be fetching from the cypress.config.js. So the next thing is we have to write test. So for writing the test, you have to go to your end-to-end test folder, and inside that I will create a file. I'll name it as register test. So register test.cy.js. Fine. And now we will write our test case. So it is using Mocha. We will use describe block, and we can write the test suite name. So let's say test automation, and then a callback function inside this, and then our it block. So inside the it block, you will write your test case. Fine. So this is my register flow. I will write over a register flow, and again a callback function. Now, earlier we used to pass everything over here, all the URL, all the value, all the locators. Now we will be calling our page class. So we have to import our page class. So let's go to our page class, and we created the class. In order to import it in other page classes, we will write over here export, so we can use it. So let's go to the register test, and over here we will write import. So what is the page class name? So this is register page. You have to pass register page, and automatically it will be imported, right? You can see the path got added automatically. Next thing is we will create an object. So I will name it as a register. So register obj equals to new, and this is my class name. So this is how we create an object. So once our object is created, we can access all the methods from the page class. This is how I create an object. So again, I need to initialize this. This is I'll pass this as a constant. Now I can access all the methods from the page class. I will write over here register object. So this is my register object. And in order to access it, you have to write dot, and you can see all the suggestions. So whatever methods were there in the register page, you can see this is a method, and register page, you can access it like this, right? So our first method which we are going to access is open URL. So this is my first method. Next command which we are going to use is we have to pass the first name. So next method we will use register obj dot first name. So enter first name. So when I enter first name, we passed parameter over there, right? That is the value of first name which we are going to enter. So over here, like I mentioned, we are just passing the parameter in our page class. So where will we store our test data? So for storing the test data, we'll go to fixtures folder. So go to your fixtures folder, and over here we'll create a test data file. So I'll name it as register data.json, and I will add all my test data over here. Okay, so it will be again in the key value format. So my first name, you can pass all the data over here. So we have how many fields? We have 6 fields on the page. So last 2 fields are basically same. So total five values I will be storing here in the test data, right, in the JSON file. So let's go to the code and store the data in the JSON file. So I will, for the reference purpose, I will pass the same name. So my first name, let me pass as test, and the last name, you can pass as per your project requirement. Let's say whatever testing data you have, you can pass it like that in the JSON file. So I'm passing it like this, test QA. Next one is email. So you can pass the valid values. Next one is phone number. So I will pass like this. So telephone, I'm just keeping the same name, as what we have on the front end because it's easier for you to refer, right? In the future, if you want to find out where did we use first name, we can directly see, yeah, this is first name, this is used for the specific field only. Okay. So I'm passing the telephone and then we have password. So password also we can pass over here. So I'm passing it like this. Okay. Now go to your file, go to your page class, and we will import the fixture file. I will write over here import. And what is the name of the fixture file? So I will pass over here register data. And from where we have to import, we have to pass the path. So from where we will import, we have to pass the path. So I'll just go to that path. So this is under fixtures, select fixtures, and then our register data.json. Now, wherever parameter, wherever value we want to pass, we will just copy this one. So register data dot that name. So first one is first name. So this is pointing to this value, first name. So we are accessing the key and it will tell us the value. It will return us the value for that key. Okay. So this is how you access it. The next one is register object. So register object dot next method is last name. So we'll be passing last name over here. And again, I'm passing this name from register data dot last name. Okay. And then we have for email, and we have for the email ID, phone number, and password. So 3 more fields. So register object dot enter email, and email also we are fetching from register data dot email. Okay. Then we have our phone number. So dot enter telephone. So this is my telephone, and here I can pass register data dot telephone. And then the final one is password. So password, so register object dot enter password, and inside that we will pass the data from our data JSON data, right? So this is my dot password. So in the password we have in the password method we have two locators. We are using two locators but passing the same value for them. So one is password and other one is confirm password. Okay. We have two more steps. We have to call register object again, and inside that we are using checkbox. So select checkbox, and then the last step is we have to click on the continue button. So register object dot click on the continue. Okay, click on the continue. So this is how you have created your test file. So what we are doing, we are creating locator, we are accessing the locators from the page class. We have created an object over here. So this is how we are accessing the methods. And then for the data, we have created a JSON file inside the fixture folder. We are importing that and then we are accessing it like this. Okay. So let's run our test case and let's see if it is working or not. So let me go to the terminal, go to your terminal, enter the command. So I'll just clear it. Enter the command npx cypress open. So npx cypress open, and now select your test file. So select the browser. So we can see the registered test got added over here. So I'm just clicking on this one and let's see if how it is getting implemented. We can see first name, last name. Okay, it is not finding the email. Let's see, maybe there is issue in the locator. Let's go to the page class, and so over here I can see in the email it is ID and I haven't passed hash. So let's go back to the test case and you see now it is running, and clicking on continue. So this is how your test case got created and it got passed also. You can see all my test steps, everything got passed, and on the left side you can see all the type commands, all the click action, check boxes, and you see, if you see on the right side, the checkbox got selected and click on continue. So everything is working as expected. Our test case is working perfectly fine, and you can see like this on the page also, all the fields are added. Okay, so this is how you can follow page object model in Cypress. If you want to follow page object model in your Cypress project, you can create it in this way. So you can follow the similar approach when you have multiple tests. So similar way, you can create multiple pages and multiple tests in which you can call the pages. And in the page class, you can write all the locators and the actions. Okay, so this is, if you understand the concept, you can easily do it for all the, whole end-to-end flow very easily. So today we saw how we can create repo on GitHub and how to clone it, how to create page object model in Cypress. And now in the end, we are going to see how to push all this code to your GitHub repo. So when we created the repo on GitHub, so this is the repo. This was an empty repo on GitHub, right? So all this code is added on a local machine. Now we want to push this code to our remote server. So in order to do that, what we'll do? So go to your terminal. So let me open the terminal over here. Okay, so go to your terminal. First of all, check whatever files you have added. So we will enter the command git status. So it will show you all the files which are not yet committed. It's not yet added on the remote server, but it's there on your local machine. So if you want to add all the files, what we will do? We will use the command git add space dot. As I want to add all the files, I'm using git add dot. But if you want to add some specific files, you can add the file name over here. Okay, so let me add all the files. After adding all the files, what will happen? The next is you have to commit your code. So we have to pass the command git commit -m and you have to enter the message. So I will enter test automation using Cypress. Okay, you have to pass some message over here. After committing, so my files are now committed. Next is you're pushing your code to the remote server. For that, we have to use the command which is git push. So by using this command, all your code, whatever is there on your local machine, will be added to the remote server to your GitHub repo. So let's do it and let's see. So now it is getting pushed. You can see. So now we can see all the, it got successfully pushed. Let's go to the GitHub repo and I will refresh it. And after refresh, I should be able to see the files. You can see over here, Cypress folder, dot module. So whatever is there on my local machine, it got added. We can see, and it's showing all the packages, fixture package pages. And in the pages, we can see we have a register page added over here, right? So this is the same code. So this is how you push your code, how you create a repo on GitHub directly, and how you push your code. So this is very useful for when you're working in a team, when you're working in a project, you have to work in a collaborative mode so that you can exchange your code with each other and you can track the changes also. Okay. So yeah, that's it for the video. In the upcoming videos, we'll see the reporting part, we'll see the CI/CD pipeline and the Slack integration. So if you like the concept, if you understand, if you have any queries, just message in the comment. I will try to reply. I hope you understood the page object model concept and how we are trying to implement this in Cypress. So if you like it, please like and subscribe to the channel and share it with your friends. And I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.